Welcome back to Planet Phobia, your friendly neighborhood horror fan. This episode will cover all the runner-up movies for each year of the 2010s. As we get closer to that number one movie, the quality and scares only get better.
I found another body a few days ago. Victim completely drained of blood. Please don't see that boy again.
Let Me In. This creepy romantic horror story follows child vampire Abby, played by Chloe Grace Moretz, set in the 1980s in New Mexico. Here she befriends a 12-year-old who is tormented by bullies. Soon they form a romantic bond. What a unique story this is, and an interesting take on the vampire genre of films. Maybe melancholy is the best word to describe it. Abby is basically a parasite, using a young man to help her get what she wants, only to use them until they are old and drained, and then move on to the next one. But hey, if you're an isolated, bullied young boy and an attractive vampiress shows up at your door and says, "I'll be your girlfriend," and make it so no one will bully you again, what would you do? That makes for one hell of a question, and Let Me In makes for one hell of a movie, grabbing the number 2 spot for 2010. Watch it today on Tubi.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, just checking in. What you up to?
Number 2 gives us a classic vampire tale. Fright Night from 2011 is a fun time for sure and is a remake to the highly popular 1985 film, giving fans that much-loved nostalgia trip while also modernizing the story. This one has a loaded cast, including the late great Anton Yelchin, Colin Farrell, Superbad's Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Imogen Poots, Dave Franco, and a cameo performance from the original Jerry, Chris Sarandon. When a mysterious neighbor shows up, local high schoolers go missing. Soon the idea floats around that Jerry, the neighbor, is actually a bloodsucker. From here, pure insanity is unleashed, culminating in an epic vampire lumberjack match. But which side will prevail, human or vampire? To find out for yourself, you'll have to lay down some cash, because this one is available with video on demand. Dr. Sleep. 2019 was a big year for Stephen King fans. Not only did It Chapter 2 premiere, but so did the reimagined follow-up to The Shining, Dr. Sleep. This film follows Ewan McGregor as Dan Torrance, all grown up and trying to outrun the horrors of his youth surrounding the events at the Overlook Hotel. His counterpart to this saga is Rose the Hat, played by Rebecca Ferguson. Rose and her gang of psychic vampires, known as the True Knot, feed off the steam released by people who have the Shining. To release the steam, the victims must die in agony. The more pain they endure, the more steam they produce. These creatures treat the steam like a crack rock and are always on the lookout for the next hit. Fans of Stephen King and newcomers alike can enjoy this dark tale. Youre Next. This film was made in 2011 but didn't find its way to American theaters until 2013. Starring Shammy Vincent as lead badass Aaron and with Barbara Crampton having a supporting role as Aubrey. Youre Next doesn't waste time. Very quickly the blood starts to fly. When a family dinner is interrupted by a gang of mask-wearing freaks looking for victims. Home invasion turns into a fight for survival. Gruesome kill scenes intertwine with a plot that makes us question why these marauders are targeting this family and who lies at the center of it. This one is blood, guts, and action personified. Don't miss out on 2013's runner-up to Best Horror Title. View it for yourself on Peacock. Annihilation. Annihilation is all about a trippy dreamscape. Once you enter the shimmer, your perception may become sketchy, like one too many rum and Pepsis. Natalie Portman delivers a powerful performance. As a cellular biology professor and former U.S. Army soldier, she must uncover the truth. Why are plants and animals beginning to mutate? What is the shimmer and how will it affect mankind? If you haven't seen this one yet, tune in to find out the answers. Bone Tomahawk, Netflix. This movie almost takes the top spot for 2015 horror, and it's from a genre I haven't delved into much on this channel, Western horror. While many movies from this genre might be a hit or miss, Bone Tomahawk was an absolute hit, finding the bullseye for many horror fans. Starring such names as Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, and David Arquette, this well-put-together descent into madness follows a small-town sheriff who puts together a posse that makes their way into unfamiliar lands to track down 3 people abducted by a cannibalistic native tribe. The tribe are referred to as troglodytes and inbred. The story goes that they were shunned by other tribes, I'm guessing because of all the sister-brother love and making man-flesh the staple of their diet. Just a guess. God, this one breaks down into some of the most disgusting torture scenes out there. People being treated like animals, scalped, and eaten. Prepare yourself for this inevitability, because it happens and it's straight up brutal. Hold on for the end of this film, after the pure carnage and ingenuity used to try to escape is very cool. Bone Tomahawk grabs the silver medal for 2015 horror. Stick around to see which movie from this year takes the top spot.
Beep, beep, Richie.
It. Stephen King finds himself on the list for the 3rd time. 2017 was a busy year with multiple projects coming to life on the big screen. His 1986 masterpiece novel was the inspiration for this movie, and fans had to wait since the 1990 miniseries to see Pennywise dance once again on the TV screen. Pulling in over $700 million at the box office, this one became a certified banger. Upon release, it was the 3rd highest grossing rated R movie, and adjusting for inflation, it became the highest grossing horror film of all time. Travel to Derry, Maine, hang out with the Losers Club, and see if they can outlast everyone's favorite supernatural psychotic clown.
Subject is in her mid to late 20s. Hair brown.
Flash flood warning now.
Eyes gray.
Number 2, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. If there are any movies on this list that you haven't seen, The Autopsy of Jane Doe is the one I'd tell you to stop what you're doing and press play right now. Starring Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch, this one is a straight-up fright fest that can't be denied. Following a father and son coroner duo who are brought the corpse of a young woman, are told they need to decipher the cause of her death by the next morning. The next morning, however, is promised to no man. My words can't do this film justice. It just has to be viewed so you can see for yourself how amazing it truly is. I slept on this one when it first came out, but was so thankful when I finally watched it. The acting is superb, the plot is thoroughly put together, and twists that keep you wanting more. As you will learn, the body of this young woman isn't a cut and dry case of murder. In fact, it's the opposite. Pity turns to fear, and by the end, the awful truth is discovered. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a definite contender for the best horror of 2016. But stick around to see which movie wears the crown for this year. The hits just keep on coming as the number 2 spot is claimed by Sinister. This movie follows true crime writer Ellison Oswald and his family as they move to a new house in Pennsylvania. Little does the family know, Ellison moved them here to further his research for his next novel that just so happens to involve the family that lived there before, the Stevensons, who were found dead on the property with the exception of their young son who went missing. That's kind of a dick move. Damn, Ellison. A curious side note about this movie is that it was written by C. Robert Cargill after a nightmare he had from watching The Ring. Pretty neat how one horror movie can inspire another. So eventually Ellison finds old family films in the attic, which turns out to be snuff films, chronicling past murders dating back to the 60s. After this development, we travel into the world of the occult and the pagan Babylonian god Bagul, the eater of children. This is one nasty dude, and now he has his gaze fixed on the Oswald family. This twisted movie ends in a tragic way, but at least the answers we seek are answered. Sinister is a masterclass in horror and can be seen on Amazon Prime.
me hungry.
Oculus. Holy shit, I really like this movie. Great premise, great acting, and a legit badass antagonist. This movie builds the plot by explaining the lore of the Lasser Glass, an antique possessed mirror which has caused the death of countless people throughout history. Siblings Tim and Kaylee try to put an end to the suffering caused by the mirror and the spirit living within it, all while reliving flashbacks of their youth, back when the mirror made their parents victims. This movie is a head trip, thanks to the spirit's ability to alter reality. Prepare yourself for an insane ride while watching two stories play out at the same time, culminating in an excruciating ending. The ending isn't to be celebrated for our protagonist, but it is to be celebrated for its horror genius. Please find out for yourself and put Oculus on your must-watch list. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at the best horror movies of the 2010s. The next episode in the series will look at the very best that this decade had to offer. This is Planet Phobia signing off, and as always, wishing you good luck on your horror journey.